Hi, good afternoon. I'm Sarah Spatola, the Director of Marketing for Ecologel Solutions, and today we're going to talk about growing your business with Hydretain. So I want to start off by first introducing you to Hydretain for those of you who aren't already familiar with the product. We're going to talk about what it is, how it works, and some of the key benefits that it provides. And then we're going to walk into marketing Hydretain services. So we're going to talk about the why, the what, the when, and the how to market Hydretain services. And then we're going to wrap up by going into our Hydretain Advantage program and walking you through the program and the key features and benefits that it provides to helping you sell Hydretain services. So for those of you who aren't familiar with who we are, Ecologel is the developer and manufacturer of Hydretain. We have over 30 years of experience providing environmentally responsible technologies for plant science and water conservation to the lawn and ornamental industries, as well as agricultural industries. And in 2018, Ecologel partnered with ArborJet to expand the resources that we provide, our distribution network, and our customer support. So what is Hydretain? Well, Hydretain is a very unique water management technology that functions by converting humidity in the soil back into plant usable water droplets. And in doing so, it can reduce overall watering requirements by up to 50% or more. And it can be used on all types of plant materials, from turf to trees, shrubs, potted plants, hanging baskets, vegetable gardens. Essentially, it's not species specific and can be used on any type of plant material. So what makes Hydretain different from some of the other technologies on the market? You may already be familiar with wetting agents or super absorbent polymers. Wetting agents function to break down surface tension and allow moisture to penetrate down to and throughout the soil more effectively. Super absorbent polymers work like baby diapers. They're also sometimes referred to as hydrogels, and they swell up and absorb excess moisture within the soil profile. And then plant roots can either grow down into or alongside of those polymers to extract that moisture. Hydretain, as I mentioned, is a very unique technology. It's a blend of hygroscopic and humectant compounds, or hygroscopic humectants. Hygroscopics are compounds that have a natural attraction to water molecules. They function kind of like a water magnet. If you've ever left a bag of urea open, urea-based fertilizer open, and you've experienced clumping, urea is very hygroscopic. It will pull moisture to itself, and that's what creates that clumping effect. The humectant side of Hydretain is that humectants are used a lot in cosmetics and in food products, gum, toothpaste, things like that. You'll often hear with like women's facial creams, the term alpha hydroxy. The product contains alpha hydroxy as a moisturizer. Hydretain contains an alpha hydroxy propionic acid. So that's the humectant end of it. So the hygroscopic humectants function to draw moisture back together, to reaggregate the gas form of water or humidity in the soil back into a usable droplet that the plant roots can then take up. And that process helps provide the plant with moisture for longer periods in between watering, rainfall or irrigation cycles. So when the soil typically begins to dry down to the point that there's no longer liquid water there, at that point, the plant would start to go into drought stress. But there's still humidity there. And so what Hydretain is doing is taking that humidity and turning it back into usable moisture for the plant. So we're going to show how that works with illustrated graphic here. So what you're going to see is on the untreated side, where the water molecules again are forming. This is a representation of the gas form of moisture in the soil and it just being lost to evaporation. Where on the treated side, as the moisture is rising up through the soil to be lost to evaporation, it's being captured and drawn back together, reforming the droplet for the plant roots to use. So as I mentioned, Hydretain has the ability to reduce overall watering requirements by up to 50% or more. It's a great tool for water conservation. And so many people will think about it, oh gosh, that's a great tool to use out west in places where we're highly impacted by prolonged drought, or in areas of the country where water rates have gone up really high. And while that is true, Hydretain's benefits go far beyond water conservation alone. So as I was discussing, when the soils start to dry down and you would normally get into a phase where there's no longer liquid moisture for the plant roots to take up, that's where Hydretain takes over. It's at that point that without Hydretain, your plants would typically start to go into drought stress. And that drought stress can occur anywhere throughout the country. That's not limited to places where we have periods of prolonged droughts. We tend to think of drought stress, hear the word drought and think about prolonged drought. Sometimes the term is also used as moisture stress. So that moisture stress or drought stress can occur, again, anywhere throughout the country, and anytime the plant goes into a phase where it's transpiring at a faster rate than it can take up moisture from the soil. And what happens in that scenario is when plants go into drought stress, just like us, they become more susceptible to other environmental factors. So, when we're under stress, we become more susceptible to cold viruses, bacterial infections, being worn out, exhausted. When plants go into drought stress, they become more susceptible to other environmental stresses such as high heat or wind or pest and disease pressures, insect and disease pressures. So Hydretain can help by keeping plants out of drought stress. It can help minimize the impact of other environmental stresses, and can also help with wilt recovery and other stress recovery. So this is an example, this photo here is an example of taking a lawn that was experiencing drought stress and being able to turn it around with a Hydretain application. Now, ideally, the ideal scenario is that this lawn would have had a Hydretain application down first. It's always better. Any application in this environment, to our landscapes we're better doing those things preventatively rather than curative or correctively. Hydretain is no different. So we do recommend, the ideal scenario is selling it as a service, is getting it down before your client's properties go into drought stress. However, I do have multiple examples where it has been used to help recover lawns after they've already gone into drought stress. It can also be used to mask poor irrigation coverage. So if you've got either just old heads, poor coverage, poor pressure, if you've got areas where you've got landscape beds and turf on the same zone, or you've got zones that are comprised of plants with different watering requirements. Typically in those scenarios, you're ending up with having to either overwater one or underwater another. A Hydretain application can help your plant that needs more water go longer between irrigation cycles so that you're not having to overwater, say, for example, the landscape beds to compensate. It can help with increasing nutrient uptake, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more here in a minute, maximizing seed germination, improving sod and transplant establishment. And then, Hydretain's not only a great tool, again, to help save water, it's environmentally friendly from that aspect, being more conscious of our water resources, but it is also environmentally friendly in its makeup. It's 100% biodegradable, and it is safe to use around kids and pets. And these are just a couple of the key benefits Hydretain provides. We've just put out a blog post on our hydretain.com blog, and it talks a lot about the benefits of Hydretain that go far beyond water conservation. So that can give you some additional information on ways that you may want to incorporate selling language for your part of the country. So I've got a couple of examples here of, again, recovery situations. Now, again, the ideal situation would be to have had Hydretain down on this property before the irrigation failed, to protect it from going into this phase of drought stress. But this is a situation down here in Florida where something happened to the customer's irrigation system. It failed. They called their tech out, and of course, the tech thought for sure. He sent us a letter and these pictures afterwards. He thought for sure this customer was going to cancel the service with them, just by basically being unhappy with the overall quality of the lawn. But he was able to get them on a Hydretain application, get the lawn recovered, and they were able to turn what could have been a really bad situation for their company, the loss of a customer, into a good situation by retaining that customer and making them very happy with the recovery and the quality of the landscape. Similar situation in Colorado. Again, the ideal scenario is that Hydretain would have been down before this application. However, an application after going into drought stress did help recover this lawn. So I want to highlight a couple of recent studies that we have had that showcase some of Hydretain's benefits that go far beyond water conservation. In this particular study, which was done by Western Illinois University, the Hydretain application increased nutrient uptake between 31 and 54% for 9 of the 11 nutrients assayed. So essentially what they did is they had 2 different sets of plants. They'd started with seed, with grass seed, germinated the seed, did the application of Hydretain, and then took weekly clippings and showed that the Hydretain treated plants were so much healthier. Their nutrient efficiency resulted in a 31% increase in dry matter yield. And out of the nutrients assayed, again, 9 out of the 11 nutrients showed a statistically significant difference in uptake with the Hydretain application. And that included NPK, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, boron, manganese, and copper. The 2 nutrients that weren't statistically significant did show an increase, again, just not deemed statistically significant, and those were iron and zinc. And it's important to note that this study was conducted under adequate watering conditions. So this was not turf that was in drought stress. This was turf that was under what was considered, normal, adequate watering conditions, and Hydretain still showed that much of an increase in the nutrient uptake. The next study that I want to highlight is was actually done for the golf course industry. It was done on a Bermuda grass fairway where they were reducing watering down to 40% ET, which was actually a 50% reduction in watering. They were previously watering at 80% ET, a deficit irrigation, but took that down to 40% and tried a number of different products to see how they performed with that reduced watering. And the reason I wanted to keep this in here for you all is to highlight what they saw with rooting. Hydretain does have a positive effect on our root mass of plants. It's not a benefit that we often talk about, but it actually can impact root area in a couple of different ways. First of all, going back to that scenario of keeping the plant out of drought stress, you're maintaining a healthier plant that's going to continue producing new healthy root mass. But in addition to that, you're helping to minimize the loss of roots from dry conditions. So by helping to keep the roots hydrated more effectively for longer periods of time, Hydretain's helping to minimize that loss of those tiny root hairs that are so important to nutrient and water uptake. So with this study, we showed a 16.9% increase in the root surface area with the Hydretain treatment compared to a 13.4 reduction in root surface area in the untreated check. And the final study that I want to highlight is one that was done at the University of Illinois on the effects of Hydretain applied for turfgrass seed germination and establishment. And what they found was that with 3/4 of an inch of irrigation per week, they tried 3 different Hydretain formulas. They used our liquid, our granular OC, that's our organic compost formula, and our Hydretain QD, our granular QD, which is our quick dissolve formula, against a control. And what they found was that the control coverage after 6 weeks of application, or after 6 weeks of seeding, the control was at about 79% turfgrass coverage, where the Hydretain treatments, all 3 treatments, were over 95% coverage. So we're here to talk mostly about how to grow your business with Hydretain. So I want to talk about, marketing the service and start off by looking at the why. What's in it for your business? Why are you, obviously, why are you here today? What can it do for you? And the first of those is increasing your revenue stream. So Hydretain provides a very unique service opportunity, something that not all of your competitors in the market are going to be offering. to your customers, and it certainly provides an upsell opportunity to add a new revenue stream into your business. And that can be not only with your existing customers, new revenue opportunity, but also as an opportunity to gain new customers. When you look at the picture on the far right, certainly if your lawn is the one on the right, their neighbor is going to be asking, who's doing your lawn? And that's a great way to get referral business off of your existing customers as well. And then one of the other reasons to look at marketing the service is to reduce callbacks and replacement costs. So going back to that concept of keeping plants out of drought stress, minimizing wilt, and improving overall plant quality will help if you're doing any sort of installations, again, seed germination, or any type of landscape installations. Can also help reduce callbacks from customers that are dealing with drought stress scenarios, but they think that it's a pest pressure. How often do you have customers call saying, hey, I've got a problem, can you come take a look? Something's eating my lawn, or I've got a disease, or I've got this, or I've got that. And you go out and you assess it, and it's drought stress. They're not watering enough. So it can help reduce callbacks, with labor tight in the market. That can be a great way to help save on labor costs and keep your crews on more productive projects rather than having to go out to customers' lawns to assess callbacks for drought stress. Further on that note, one of the things we talked about with that customer in Florida is that it can help a lot with customer retention. So again, if you're looking at this picture on the far right, if your customer's lawn is the one on the right side of that, they're going to be much happier with your service than if yours is the one on the left. And retaining customers can be just as important to maintaining revenue as gaining new customers. Kind of general marketing knowledge is that it takes more investment to gain a new customer than it does to retain an existing one. So it's always great to try to retain those customers and keep them happy. So we talked about kind of the new revenue stream aspect, and I wanted to highlight a couple of testimonials we've received on that note. So the first one, they had sold $961 of Moisture Manager. A Moisture Manager is a private label of Hydretain. It's a Site One private label of Hydretain. So they sold $961 of applications in their first 4 days in offering the service. And the second one was that they increased their business revenue by $10,000 in their first season. So just to kind of show a little bit about the opportunity that there is to truly grow revenue with the service. So I want to take a minute here and talk about the what. What exactly is it that you're marketing when you're marketing a Hydretain service? Excuse me. So Hydretain has, as we looked at a few slides ago, Hydretain provides a variety of different benefits. And the key to a successful upsell service is going to be matching the benefits that it provides to the priorities of your customers and your local market. So we have a variety of different tools, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But if your customers are the ones that really, they have to have the best lawn on the block, that's what they're after, then you want to focus on the aesthetic value that Hydretain provides, minimizing the dry spots in the lawn, keeping the lawn out of wilt, keeping it protected against opportunistic pest and disease pressures. If your customers are into cost savings and you're in an area where water costs have gone up, certainly that's an opportunity to talk about the ability to cut back on their irrigation, help them save on their water bill. And then if you've got customers that are, into the environmental aspects, they were asking about wanting to have, more environmentally friendly services, or if they're looking at ways that they can conserve water, from that perspective, you can talk about the environmental aspect. For many customers, it can also be a matter of talking with them about how it can benefit, if they're not watering enough. Again, going back to that situation where customers are calling you saying, hey, I have a problem, and you're going out and assessing and it's drought stress. That can be one of the conversations to have with them as well. If we've got a solution we can provide, we can put this down so you don't have to water. We can correct this issue for you. And it doesn't need to be a costly pesticide application for them. So we're going to take a minute now and walk through some of the different upsell opportunities that are out there with Hydretain. And then we're going to look at some of the tools that we have to help support those upsell opportunities. So the first one I want to highlight is reducing the water bills. We do market again the fact that Hydretain can reduce watering by up to 50% or more, which can help customers save directly on their water bills. And we have a tool to help with that. Our water cost mailers can be used to teach customers how Hydretain can help them save on their water bills. And those are mailers that were designed to fit into a number 10 envelope. They can be used as a bill stuffer when you're sending out invoices, or as just a direct mailer marketing the service. They can also be put into plastic door hangers and done as a leave behind after you've completed a service for your customers. The next subject I want to highlight is increasing seed germination. So as we showed in the study from the University of Illinois, Hydretain does increase seed germination. We have a lot of case studies and customer reports over the years of use of Hydretain doing this on golf, sports, turf, erosion control projects, as well as lawn care, new grow in or recovery seeding. So one of the things that can be used for this is our seeding flyer, which we can make available. Just you can hand out to your customers, show them how Hydretain will work to improve either their new lawn or their renovation experience with less water. So next up, I want to talk about combating summer stress. So, this is a good one for the upcoming season. Hydretain will help increase water availability to the root to reduce decline from summer stress. We're currently working on a tool for this, and that is going to be our upcoming summer stress email template. So we'll have that available, and I'll talk about how you can access all of these materials when we get into the Advantage program. But we will have that email template available ahead of the summer season so that you could just send that out as an email blast to your customers, letting them know that you have a service option to help get through summer stress. Eliminating dry spots, again, for those customers who are really into the aesthetic value or who are confusing dry spots with other issues in the landscape. Hydretain will help maximize soil moisture efficiency to reduce and repair those localized dry spots. And one of the tools that I recommend using for this is to use our photo gallery. We have, as we've shown a couple of examples in this presentation, we have several great examples of how Hydretain has improved the quality of other lawns battling drought stress. And you can use those tools when discussing the service with your customers, or to put up on your website or as an email to communicate that message to them. So the next step is improving irrigation inefficiencies. Again, when we're talking about poor irrigation coverage, lack of turf and bed separation, just a number of different inefficiencies that may exist with the design or the function of the irrigation system. One of the tools that you can use is our demonstration powder. Our demonstration powder, if any of you have ever seen that at trade shows or other events, is a hygroscopic compound that when you put it out, it will convert from powder, from a dry powder. It'll start to pull moisture out of the humidity in the air and create droplets on the surface that you've put it on. We provide that with a laminate sheet that you can use to show customers exactly how Hydretain is going to function for them. It's a very memorable demonstration, and will give them a visual of something that is otherwise somewhat difficult to visualize because it's happening below the surface. So for environmental responsibility, going back to customers who may be inclined to add on the service because they're more environmentally conscious, the Hydretain service gives you the ability to offer that. It's a solution that both you and your customers can feel good about. And one of the tools we recommend is utilizing our Saving the World's Water One Lawn at a Time logo. We have this logo that was developed for applicators who are offering Hydretain as a service. And you can put this on your website, on your marketing materials, emails that go out, any communication you have with customers to show that you're focused on helping to save our water resources. So drought protection or drought stress protection, protecting the turf and landscapes from the harmful effects of drought stress. One of the tools that we recommend for that is our drought season mailers. We have, again, those are designed to fit into the number 10 envelope, or they can be put in a hanging a door hanger. But those are designed to show your customers that you have a tool, you have a solution to help get them through either drought seasons, if you're in an area that has a regular dry season, or more prolonged periods of drought. We also have a webinar that was previously done called Preparing for Drought that is recorded and up on the Advantage Program website. So I'll show you how you can access that as well. But that's a great webinar to watch for tips on how to protect customers' landscapes. Next up is minimizing wilt. So this goes into looking to be kind of beyond the lawn, reducing moisture stress in flower beds for shrubs, trees, vegetable gardens, container plants, etc. One of the other tools we would recommend using for that is, again, going back to our photo gallery. We have a number of different photos showcasing Hydretain's benefits on hanging baskets and plant material outside of turf. And then finally, looking at surviving watering restrictions for those areas around the country that do battle watering restrictions. We do have a mailer tool that can show your customers that there is an option to help their landscape survive and even thrive during those periods of water restrictions, while allowing them to do their part to help save water for the community. So we've talked about some examples of what to market, what are the various subjects, what are the benefits that you can hone in on for your market. So I want to go into talking about when. We have applicators that do Hydretain applications as a standalone application. We have applicators who do a full year service. This is really going to come down to your personal preference, but I did want to highlight that Hydretain is not just a single season application. There are benefits for it that extend throughout the year. So in spring, we would want to primarily look at, winter recovery for areas that are coming out of winter dormancy, helping to establish new plantings as well, and then getting in on early season water savings. Here in Florida, spring represents our dry season. So it's also a key time down here to start the application to protect against our drier weather before the summer rains start. For summer, looking at that summer stress protection, as we get into the high heat areas, this can be particularly beneficial for customers who don't have an irrigation system when we're going into those warmer times of the year. It can also help with summer turf and landscape installations. So given the climate of material availability right now, the schedule of installations is dependent on when plant material becomes available, and it's not always at the best time. So if you are having to do installations at the peak of the heat summer months, Hydretain is going to help those that turf and those landscape plants survive, give them a better chance of surviving through that tough installation time period. And that goes for even if you're not necessarily the one to do the installation, but if you're taking over a new account, a new home that was just built, landscape just put in, and you're taking on that account that's kind of already going into, it's already stressed, it's already starting to it's not necessarily starting off on its best foot because it was put in at a bad time. It can be a great way to help turn that property around and get a customer that's going to be really happy with having you starting off service with them. And then, of course, for the summer months, that's our typical time of year for watering restrictions and when water bills peak. So it can be a great time to get application down for the watering restrictions or to reduce water bills. In the fall, we'll look at application to help reduce the impacts of those lingering summer temperatures. We end up with those sort of late season or longer season heat waves. Fall is also a key time for seeding establishments, so a great time to put product down with your seed, whether that's, again, a new property or it's a summer recovery. And then we're also, it's also a great time to do Hydretain application for seasonal color. Of course, that can be done any time of the year, but we tend to see color change outs happen in the fall. New tree and shrub plantings happen in the fall as well. So it can be a great time to put the application down for those. And then finally, getting into late fall or winterization. For areas of the country that have to blow out their irrigation system, doing a Hydretain application before winterizing is a great way to protect the turf and landscape against any late season heat waves. It's also a great way to protect against winter desiccation. So if you're in an area where you get really cold temperatures, but aren't experiencing enough snowfall to create that blanket of insulation over the turf, you can end up with a lot of winter desiccation or drying of the root system over the winter months. And Hydretain is shown to be able to help protect against winter desiccation. So now we're going to talk about the how and some of the different things that you can do, tools that, or tips that you can do to get the service out there to your customers. So one of the very first things that I would recommend is putting the service up on your website. And I'll show an example of that here in a minute. The next would be going into email and social media. We have tools to be able to help you with that. Videos are a great tool to market to your customers. We're seeing more and more applicators taking to YouTube and TikTok to showcase the services that they provide to help appeal to younger generations who are becoming the new wave of their client base. And then, of course, there's the traditional mailers and signage, and we have resources to help with all of these. The example here, this is a video, the image here is a video that was done by a professional applicator highlighting the service that he offers. So I wanted to show an example of Hydretain on a website. This is a great example where there's an introduction here, save money on your water bill, and it says where nature leaves off, Hydretain takes over. They've got information on how to schedule, immediately looking at giving somebody an easy option to provide their contact information to get scheduled for a free lawn analysis. And when you start to scroll down to the website, it really goes into the details of what Hydretain can provide for the, and hits in on some of the things in their local area. So they do have watering restrictions seasonally when they go into periods of drought stress. And this is an area where water costs has also gone up tremendously over the last couple of years. So they're focusing in on being able to help reduce watering requirements and, of course, the water bill by up to 50%. I mentioned email and social media. We have resources for both of those. Here are a couple of social templates that we have showing, watering restrictions in effect. Ask about our water management applications. Tired of constantly watering your lawn, now offering Hydretain services. We have these available both with the branding, the Hydretain branding message on there, as well as sort of a generic message. So depending on how you want to go about your marketing efforts, you can let folks know, hey, we have a new water management application that we're offering, or directly tell them, hey, we're offering Hydretain services, and we will support both of those with the graphics that we have. I mentioned the summer stress email template that's coming soon. We do already have another email template available for you that's more of a general introduction to the service. And then traditional mailers and signage. We have, as I mentioned, several different mailers that can be used. These are a couple examples. The drought season is coming, drought season is here. And then the lawn sign that you can put into properties that have had Hydretain services done. This is a great tool to use if you've got your lawn sign that you're using to highlight your business. You can put it right next to it. We also, on the flip side of this lawn sign, have a slightly varied design where there's a blank space at the bottom. So if you don't have a lawn sign that you're already using to market your business, you can put your contact information onto that blank space. So you can show, okay, we're doing our part, introduce the Hydretain service, but give walkers by an information or neighbors information to contact you to get this service. So I've shown a bunch of different tools. I've talked about mailers and lawn signs, and I've talked about social graphics and all these resources that we have. So how can you access those resources? Well, several years ago, we developed a program called the Hydretain Advantage Program, and it was made specifically to provide marketing support for lawn and landscape service providers who are offering Hydretain as a service. We recognize that this is a unique solution. It's not something that's out there that every one of your competitors is going to be offering. And many of your customers might not even know that they can ask for a water management service. They're going to be more inclined, they know if they have ants or they have a particular pest, they may know to call up and say, hey, I've got this issue. Can you help me? when it comes to water issues, many customers, just aren't necessarily aware that there's a solution for them. So we wanted to make it as easy as possible for our applicators to adopt the program, to give you all marketing resources so that you can sell the service without having to invest a bunch of your own time and money in developing those materials. And hence the Hydretain Advantage program was born out of that. You can enroll in the program by visiting hydretainadvantage.com. The program is free to join, and the majority of our marketing materials are free to request as well. We do have some that you get a certain amount for free at first, and then you can add on additional numbers at a nominal cost. We basically just pass along our printers fees for some of those materials, but most of the materials on the program are completely free to our members. And again, that's hydretainadvantage.com. I am going to take a minute to go through some of the benefits of the program, and then we're actually going to dive into the program so you can see what the program portal looks like and how you could utilize it to help you grow your business. So as I've mentioned several times, there are free marketing materials available through the site. We also offer webinars and team trainings. Webinars just like this one. We also have the ability, you can go on and request specifically your own team training. So we can do those either by visiting your office, or if you're not open to having visitors in your office at this point, we can set that up with a one-on-one Zoom opportunity. We can walk through with your sales and your tech team what Hydretain is. We can walk through some of the tips on how to sell. We can talk specific to issues in your market. What are some of the things you guys can highlight? What are some of the challenges your customers are facing, and how we can align Hydretain's benefits with your local area to help you sell the service. We also offer an online directory listing. So while I mentioned earlier that not every homeowner out there knows what they can do with regards to water challenges in the landscape, Hydretain is gaining more and more of a following among the residential, the consumer side of the industry, the actual customer. And so when customers do find out about the service, we have an online applicator directory where they can go to and find a service provider in their area. And by being an Advantage program member, you get listed on that applicator directory listing if you choose so at enrollment. And then finally, in 2020, we upgraded the program. So I mentioned the program started several years ago. We recently went through a major upgrade with the program. When we initially started, we just had physical mailers, lawn signs, vehicle magnets, more traditional marketing materials. Our 2020 upgrade provided a lot more digital materials, the social graphics, the email templates. And in addition to upgrading the actual portal and the resources available to our applicators, we also created a rewards component. So you can now earn rewards for being an Advantage program member. You can get rewards either for product purchases or product promotions or educational opportunities. I'll walk through a little bit more on that in a minute here. We're going to go ahead and dive into the program portal. So when you enroll, and again, that's hydretainadvantage.com to enroll, you will get immediate access into the program portal. And the portal has all of the different marketing materials that I have referenced and the ability for you to request physical materials as well. And I'm going to walk through some of the different features of the portal. But in addition to that, you will also receive a welcome kit from us, a physical box in the mail. And that welcome kit will have our research book and research we've talked about, as well as photo book showing a bunch of the different before and afters or comparisons with Hydretain applications. You'll get literature, you'll get some examples of the mailers so that you can see them, feel them, figure out which ones are best for your market. And then you can continue, or you can come back to us and request more of those. So the welcome kit is basically just a way to kind of showcase, here are some of the physical print materials that we have as part of the program, and help get you started with the educational process of learning more about what it can do for your customers in your market. When you actually reach the portal itself, you'll hit a home page. It will have, this says welcome member, but if this would actually, member would become, this is just a demo login, but this would have your name there. It would also keep your reward point value here. So you see that immediately when you log in. You can also access this information from your account page. Your account page, I'll jump there first because there's a lot of information on the account section. If you come into the account page, there's all of your information. You can also fill out the rest of your account page. There's some questions on there about how many customers you have, your brand preference, whether you've used the technology before, when you're planning on offering it, what your reasons are for wanting to offer it in your market. And all of that helps us to do a better job of providing resources to you. So if we know we have a lot of applicators that are offering the service around one particular issue, we can work on developing more resources for that issue. When you complete your profile, which is more information than just your enrollment form. Your base enrollment form gives us just enough to get you into the portal. The profile is all of the fields on the account page. When you complete your profile, you'll receive 10 points just for completing the profile. And then from your account page, it'll also keep track of your reward points. From here, you can also submit a testimonial to us, which will get you points. You can upload receipts from product purchases to earn points, and then you can come over to here and you can redeem rewards. So you'll be able to look through a library of different materials we have available at the time that you're ready to redeem, and select the items that items that you would like to redeem within your point value and submit that to us. So back on the home page, I want to walk through a couple of different features that are on here. So first up, there's a getting started box, and this will take you over to a page that'll walk through our tips and suggestions for getting started with offering the service. So we're going to recommend, obviously, learning as much about the product as you can, making sure that you understand what the benefits are that you can sell to your customers, trying it out for yourself. That's going to be huge. Our applicators who have used the product on either their home lawn or have seen the results on a customer's lawn that they've actually really watched and paid attention to, they have so much more conviction when being able to go out and sell it to other customers. They oftentimes will take pictures and say, hey, this is my property. Look at how, look at what it did for me. This is why I want to recommend it to you. So that's something we recommend, not only for company owners, but again, for salespeople and techs to be able to try product out, get really comfortable with it. It's going to make it so much easier for them to sell it because they're going to believe in it. Increasing your business walks through a lot of those different flip cards that we walked through in this presentation. The what features of Hydretain, what are the benefits that we're focusing on, and then what are the tools that we have. It will also provide direct links to access each one of those tools. So you can walk through that and look at the different flip cards and find the benefits that fit your market. As I mentioned, we have webinars and trainings through this link, as well as through this link up at the top here, the drop-down menu, navigation menu. You can access pre-recorded webinars that we've already done. You can access upcoming webinars and register for those. And then you can also request a training as a one-on-one, either at your office or via Zoom. Our rewards program, I'm going to hop into that box for just a minute. And so this is going to talk about the 3 different ways to earn points. First of all, you can earn points through product purchases. That's at 1 point per gallon or per bag of Hydretain purchased. And all you need to do is submit through the My Account section, submit your receipts for those, and you'll get point credit for your purchases. I want to note here that points do not expire. They'll sit on your account as long as you desire, but we do ask that product purchases be uploaded in the same year that the product was actually purchased. I'm sorry, the receipts be uploaded in the same year that product was purchased. And that just helps us with the management process of keeping up with the point system. So you can either do that after each purchase and just go right in and upload, or you can, kind of hold them all and do it at the end of the year in sort of a one bulk batch upload. The upload form will take up to 10 attachments at a time. Then we have education. This talks about how you can earn from our educational opportunities, 5 points for participating in a training event that we offer, and 3 points for watching a pre-recorded webinar and answering a short questionnaire on that. And then we are currently working on a certification program, and you'll be able to earn points for that as well. If you pass the certification, not only are you going to earn points, but you're going to get a upgraded listing in the directory. And then finally, you can earn points by sharing your experience. That can either be sharing your experience directly with us via testimonial, or sharing your experience with your customer base, sharing on social, which can sort of serve as a dual purpose. Not only can that help you market the service, but you can also earn reward points for doing so as well. And then periodically we'll have opportunities to watch for earning bonus points, different things that can be done to get additional points at certain times of the year or within certain years. Back to the home page. And then just wanted to point out the final thing here is marketing materials. This does walk through the variety of marketing materials. You can also always access any of our marketing materials through the navigation bar up here. You can get to our logos, photos, social graphics, etc. But this will walk through sort of what the different categories of materials we have and give you some ideas on how you might be able to utilize those for your business. Now, again, we've got the email template. We're working on that one for summer stress, which will be out soon. We have the social media graphics. And I wanted to highlight on this a marketing tip. In the past with some applicators, we've had people get really excited about the program, and then they go out and they do one mailer and we'll come back and say, I didn't really get a lot of pickup off of that. And as I showed on the flip side, I have a customer who sold nearly $1,000 within his first 4 days of offering the service. But the reason I want to bring that up is don't get discouraged if you don't get a huge response after your first activity. As a general kind of rule of marketing, it's the rule of 7 is a marketing principle that states that on average, it takes a prospective customer about 7 or more touch points before buying into a new product or service. So don't give up after your first email or your first mailer. We will continue providing marketing materials to you as long as you're willing to continue sending them out. So it can sometimes take a little bit to build that with customers to get a good mass on board, but we are willing to work on supporting that with you. So don't get discouraged. Again, marketing rule of 7. On here, we also have your logos and your photos, both of which can be used for a number of different marketing purposes, either your websites or creating your own emails. But I do highly recommend putting, as one of your first steps, putting Hydretain up on your website. It's a great silent seller. So as customers are coming to the site to either pay their bill or they're looking something up that maybe they know you offer, it's just going to be a great way to not only get sales off of your current customers, but also to provide that marketing opportunity for your local area. That if you say that you've got a water management service, you're helping to reduce water costs, water bills, you're addressing some of those key pain points to your customer market. That can also help you gain new customers off of Google searching. So that was one of the first suggestions I would recommend to you as a new service provider, is to get that information up on the site. And then last, I just wanted to highlight that on the navigation, we have a ton of different resources available to you in digital format. You'll get several of these things in your welcome kit, but we do have, in addition to that, product videos up, literature, all the labels in SDS, research and testimonials, case studies, and some frequently asked questions that some of the things that either you might be curious about or that your customers might ask you, and that can be a tool to help you be prepared to answer some of their questions. And then finally, on the request materials tab, you can put in a request for additional physical materials to be mailed out to you. So if you have a particular mailer or a couple of mailers that you really like the messaging on, or if you need new vehicle magnets or some additional lawn signs, powder demonstration, etc., you can click on the request materials button, and it'll show all the different materials you can ask for. And then it's just a short form to fill out and provide, what are you looking for and how many do you need? And then you can submit in here any questions, comments. If you have a particular piece that you would really like to see, if you feel like there's something that would really help you market the service that we're not currently offering, we welcome that in comments or messaging back to us. So you can submit that there. And that pretty much covers the majority of the resources and tools that are available through the actual program portal. So I want to pop back over to the presentation, and essentially that concludes our presentation for today. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. My email address and my direct phone are listed on the slide here. Again, please reach out if you have any questions or have recommendations, things that you feel like would really be beneficial to you that we're not currently offering. We're interested in exploring opportunities to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to sell the Hydretain service. And I'll leave that up for just a second. And thank you very much for joining me. And again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.